We're actually doing this. Okay. So how do people feel about him now? Would he be accepted in a return? Generic control into that goes me. We're back with some more Game Theory FNAF videos. Today we need to talk about FNAF, which I believe is the video that talks about how Scott got canceled based on him making, I think, a donation to a political candidate or political party or something like that, and he got canceled for that, so he had to step away from, like, the lead person of FNAF. I believe he's still the owner and whatnot. I just think he kind of like took a step back and took his hands off the wheel of the ship that is FNAF. I almost didn't want to react to this video just because I feel like the comment section might be crazy, but I do read every single comment, so just fair warning. Be nice in the comment section. If you say anything rude or hateful or just ignorant or anything like that, if you say anything demeaning or insulting to other people, it will get removed, and if it's really bad, you will get shadow banned from the channel. Okay? And you might get reported to YouTube. So just, you can disagree with something without being hateful towards others. You can respectfully disagree with someone about something. Politics today is a lot of one side versus the other side, and everybody's divided, and I have my own political beliefs. I'm not either one. Politics is literally just a game, okay? You want to take a reaction to the last video, which was Return to the Pit. I'll leave it right up there. Also, link down below in the description. Also, get a place on my channel with all the other Game Theory FNAF videos going in chronological order. Now that you've been warned about the comment section, I'll probably say it again in the video just to make sure that people that skip the intro also are warned about that. I should be live streaming today with my Pokemon Emerald Randomizer Nuzlocke at 5 p.m. over on Twitch. And this is going to be an interesting video. It's 25 minutes long. I'm just gonna read every single one of your comments. I'm curious to understand the main picture of why Scott got canceled or whatever. People have mentioned in the comment section, but I haven't like fully seen the details of it. I haven't looked into it. But let's go ahead and jump into this video. All right.
This is gonna be a hard one.
Yeah.
Today we're gonna talk about FNAF, like we have so many other times before.
Before you say anything rude in the comment section, go watch the intro.
We talked about FNAF on this channel. Let's see.
You can disagree without being mean or degrading or insulting or rude to other people. Don't. Okay? I read every comment. It will get removed. You might get shadow banned. You might get reported. Okay? Just, you can voice your opinion. Any opinion is valid.
For some reason,
but being rude is not. Or insulting is not.
Oh, that's what it is. If you add the Game Theory videos and all the partner shows, we've technically done 49 episodes on FNAF. And
that's crazy because this is the 49th recording.
50th episode that I really anticipated.
Oh god, this is a sad one.
For those of you who don't know, FNAF has been in the news a lot lately, and not for any good reasons, like the release of a new game, or them finally deciding to make the obvious call and cast me as phone guy in the upcoming movie.
I don't think that happened.
Consider that my audition reel, Blumhouse. I would also be willing to accept the role of Purple Guy.
Phone Guy, Mad Pat, Scott Cawthon.
No,
wow. The reason it's been trending on Twitter and blowing up all over the blogosphere have centered around the creator Scott Cawthon and his recent decision to retire from the series. You heard that right, friends. Scott, my longtime nemesis, is stepping down. Only one will remain standing.
So what is his current position now?
That one is me. He's actually retiring with plenty of money, so
yeah,
he's the real winner here. It's not me.
Yeah.
As he himself said in his final post, and I quote, I've had a
and he took down the website, kind of.
Fulfilling, it took me a minute to find it, I'm sorry. I've had a blessed, fulfilling, and rich career. I've tried to make some good games, let the debate ensue, and I've witnessed the creation of possibly the most creative and talented fan base on the planet. But here, on the 7th anniversary of the first game's trailer, I realize I missed a lot of things that I got to focus on before FNAF became such a success.
Can't kill that fan
I miss
base.
making games for my kids, I miss doing it just for fun, and I miss making RPGs even though I stink at it. All this is to say that I'm retiring. End quote.
Retiring from making games.
He goes on to thank everyone for their kindness, say that he's excited to spend time with his family, and assure everyone that FNAF is going to continue under the guidance of someone of his choosing.
Do we know who? No.
Scott, consider this channel my application for the role.
No.
I'm here for you, buddy.
No. That's fair.
All kind of joking, but also kind of not joking aside, this alone would be a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
One of the most successful indie developers of all time stepping down from his still mega popular series after 7 years, with a book series still being released until the end of the year, a new game on the verge of being released, and a movie that's still in the works.
Which the trailer came out. I still haven't edited my reaction to it.
Celebrates his work and he fades away.
I make like 19 videos a week.
Time with his family doing whatever it is that indie
stream
devs
4 times.
do with
I
their
read every
piles
comment.
of cash. Buy a cereal wall, a candy room.
Oh, it's not just house.
Bacon every day for breakfast. I don't know why I think that, but I just imagine that bacon is something that rich people have for breakfast every day because it's like the best food ever. But
I can't taste it, apparently. Apparently I'm not supposed to taste it.
Of what's going
apparently
on
it's
here,
supposed to be like salt.
It's actually
like
the circumstances around his retirement that caused the hashtags to trend. You see, in the days leading up to his announcement, word had gotten out that Scott had contributed sizable amounts of money to various political campaigns
they say how much?
in the years between 2016 and 2020. Using the website OpenSecrets.com, an independent nonprofit that tracks U.S. political donations, users learned that Scott had contributed around $42,000 to various political campaigns. Now, that on its own might not have been all that newsworthy.
No, yeah, that's not crazy. 42,000 over 4 years.
He had contributed funding
that dude worth millions.
Republican candidates like Ben Carson, Mitch McConnell, Donald Trump, controversial political figures whose voting histories had been anti-civil rights over the years, especially as it relates to the LGBTQ communities, which, you know,
also, this
a
is
large
Pride Month.
portion of
Happy
the FNAF
birthday,
fan
gay
base
people.
is. And I've seen a lot of people online responding with a, so what's the big deal to all of this news? But you have to stop and actually think for a minute about the position of a lot of the LGBTQ fans of this franchise. This revelation understandably hurt a lot of members of the FNAF fan community, considering that Scott's franchise has been this welcoming and inclusive space for them. One
because he donated to
found the ability to express their unique
a person that voted
to know that their support
that might not have been an ally or voted for certain things,
especially the financial support that comes with that their dollars had wound up funding campaigns for people who are looking to withhold or remove their rights, to fund the elections of people who would forward legislation that treats them as less than human.
That's where the wording comes into it. Because it's probably a bill that's thousands of pages long and just one thing about that, and they voted against it, but the other things are crazy.
At first, people thought that Scott's account must have gotten hacked, right? There was no way that he could have done this, or at the very least that maybe he donated to a blanket Republican fund where his dollars had gotten funneled into individual campaigns without his knowledge.
Oh, well.
No. After a few days, Scott took to Reddit and affirmed that these were indeed his choices, which then just proceeded to blow the internet up even more. A few days
later, he came on, owned it.
That a confusing and
not as if it's bad to have an opinion.
Of someone who had legitimately changed the face of horror and indie gaming forever. Now, a lot of you have been asking me for my response to the whole thing. Does the channel stop covering FNAF?
Why would that have changed?
Scott? How do I feel about all this? How should you feel about all this? And honestly, there is a lot to unpack here. A lot. One of the reasons it's taken me so long to respond is because I've had to sort it all out in my own head. I didn't really know how to feel. We've been teaching my son Oliver, who just turned 3 recently, about how sometimes you can feel multiple emotions at once, and how that's confusing and how it's hard sometimes. And that lesson at 3 is still just as hard when you're 33. So I had to take time to do my own soul searching and do my own research.
Must have
quite
26.
Honestly. One of the great things about the internet is that it moves so fast, right? You need something, and boom, it is right there available at your fingertips.
Yeah.
But one of the awful things about the internet is that boom, it moves so fast. There is no time to think. Everything requires an immediate response, a hot take, your knee-jerk reaction, a headline. Search trends last for like a day or two.
And you benefit from that.
New game releases are like old by the end of the week.
Yeah.
New video, well, got to be the first to like and comment without actually watching what it's about. There's no time for thoughts, for research, for introspection if you're going to be part of a conversation, or no time to look back and actually analyze the data. I mean, heck, by the time that you bother to finish reading Scott's response to all this drama, he had already posted his retirement. So since this is going to be a long and tricky episode to say
it's not that long,
let me start off by making it crystal clear that I am pro-LGBTQ rights. And you don't have to take my word for that. I was in theater for years before I started doing YouTube, and it is difficult to be a narrow-minded bigot in that industry. If you know, you know. I'm a member of the LA LGBT Center, and I attend their events because I support their mission. And most importantly, I've done the best I can to keep a sensitive ear open to LGBT audience members, and also to my team members when they tell me that something isn't okay, or no longer okay, or they explain an LGBT perspective that I don't know or understand because
he's not a part
I don't live that.
Yeah.
I don't have that experience in my life, so I'll never be able to know everything or be able to truly speak on behalf of people in that community, but the best I can do is to try and remain an ally who's always ready to be supportive and as sensitive as I can be. Anyway, I don't
feel like it's
say
a
all
lot
this
more
to
than
make excuses
just this.
or try to defend myself by
like
wrapping up in a
there's
rainbow
more
flag.
to it a little bit.
Actually, coming off of Pride Month, it actually bothers me how so many companies just use identity politics to be trendier.
Now they don't do that anymore.
Merch. It feels
there's a
more
lot of things going on, like
to me, rather than
Bud Light. Like people are boycotting Bud Light or
things.
something.
No, I believe that if you want real change,
and
it's
now a whole
not
bunch of
changing your logo to a rainbow for 30 days, but rather it's giving people of all types opportunities 365 days of the year, regardless of how they identify or who they love. And I'm proud to say that the team consists of people all across the spectrum, and I'm proud that they're here because they're talented,
Is that the team?
and they
Jesus.
deserve the chance to show off their unique creativity. Which is why, before I get to addressing the actual hardest subject of all this, Scott himself, I think it's important to say this right up front, or I guess as up front as I can in this long of a video. I will still be covering and supporting FNAF as a franchise. Just
that would
game
be
theory has become so much more than just me sitting in
that
my
would be
closet
insane
nerding out every week, and is now a
stop doing
collaboration
FNAF
of
videos
creative
over
people
this.
coming from all different walks of life.
That would be
Five
crazy.
Nights at Freddy's is
Especially
much
since
more
Scott is
than
walking
just
away
a
from
single
it.
guy living in Texas. I know it's easy to point at his little anim dude avatar and assign everything in the franchise to him. Heck, I've made a running gag out of our little rivalry over the years. But in reality, Scott's just a figurehead, a visual shorthand to represent everyone who is now instrumental to the running of this franchise. All the authors and illustrators of the books, other game developers, merch companies, the Fazbear
Scott has like his own like company,
games,
doesn't he?
Each
How many people are employed by?
Who use the franchise as their launch pad for their livelihoods, or as their own.
Sorry, is that Stupendium?
By not supporting the franchise as a whole,
with the mutton chops?
I'm not supporting those creators. And even more importantly, it's also that I wouldn't be supporting the community itself. The people who still do find this franchise as a safe haven, a source of entertainment, a source for their unique creative expression. Scott said it in his retirement announcement. I read it earlier. I've witnessed the creation of possibly the most creative and talented fan base on the planet. And he's not kidding. There are so
it's definitely
few
probably one of them.
like the FNAF fandom.
Oh, God.
I mean, what other franchise has so many darn fan games dedicated to it? And to me, these fans are the lifeblood of the community now, of this entire franchise now, not just Scott himself. And let me make it clear, just because I choose to support the series doesn't mean that I think anyone is wrong to not support it. That's definitely not the case. Wherever you choose to draw the line on this issue is completely valid. I'm just taking you through my thought process and all the variables that I went through as I came to terms with this whole issue. But aren't I?
Yeah, he's trying not to get canceled himself, I think.
Thereby what he chooses to do with that, you might ask. And yeah, you probably are, sadly. And that's just a choice that everyone's going to have to make based on their own personal criteria.
True.
To me, the good of supporting the community around the franchise and the jobs that it creates is worth whatever minor impact that Scott may be able to enact in the political sphere, which is an issue we'll be getting to in a second. Because here's the thing, friends. This
over
sort of dilemma applies to pretty much any major company that you talk about.
Which is more than I've ever made in a year, by the way.
Pretty much everywhere. And
when you talk about politics and donations, that's nothing.
With everywhere. For one example that I think we could all relate to, just look at Walt Disney. There's great evidence to show that Walt was probably prejudiced against other races, women, other religions. As one biographer states, quote, Disney willingly, even enthusiastically embraced anti-Semites and cast his fate with them. So do you stop watching Disney movies as a result of that money going?
Well, here's the thing: I never really did. So I've been at Disney World a number of times.
That the Walt popsicle waits in, waiting to be reincarnated one day.
Okay,
or
isn't
a more recent and much more extreme example?
Frozen or something
billionaire J.K. Rowling, creator of the
She's
Harry Potter
billionaire
universe, who has just all sorts of problematic viewpoints that she chooses to share on Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you stop supporting the Harry Potter franchise to prevent adding to her immense wealth? You can, and it is absolutely a valid option. Hitting people in their pocketbook is always the best place to get them to notice.
You're never going to do a big enough dent for them to feel
when you start looking to their influence outside of just their IP. J.K. Rowling, for instance, is rumored to earn a cut of every ticket sold to Universal Studios. Does that mean you then boycott that entire place?
How does she work out that deal?
Even if that isn't true, it's still a licensing deal that she profits from. And by going, you contribute to her ongoing success. It is like this impossible dilemma. I think the TV show The Good Place actually
withhold yourself from enjoying something
a tomato at a
to not hurt somebody but think you are.
Unwittingly supporting toxic pesticides, exploiting labor, contributing to global warming. Humans think that they're making one choice, but they're actually making dozens of choices they don't even know they're making.
In my mind, it ultimately amounts to a personal choice where you have to weigh the good of a decision against the bad. As YouTube video essayist Lindsay Ellis said in her examination of whether you can support Harry Potter without supporting J.K. Rowling.
Because of her wealth and influence, she's going to be believed more than the lived experience of trans people. And while you can absolutely control the way you read or engage with a text, you cannot control the way an author uses their money and influence.
Yeah,
and if
you put them on a pedestal.
So
don't believe in the wrong people.
Well, I mean, is dangerous to those,
she did kind of create the Harry Potter world.
Stepping down from the franchise and removing himself from social media dismantles a lot of the things that could make him dangerous moving forward. So you can always weigh that into your consideration of how you're going to view the overall franchise. Again, where you choose to draw that line is absolutely your choice.
So how do you feel about him now?
I'm just taking you through.
Would he be accepted in a return?
Soul searching and all the factors.
Maybe he enjoys being retired.
I'm choosing to support the franchise.
Maybe this is the exit he wanted.
It leads perhaps to the biggest question of them all,
or that he didn't know that he wanted.
Himself. How to feel about him, you know? Again, because the internet moves so fast and because everyone just hates to read, I never really saw people looking at what he actually said in his response to all this drama. Instead, just jumped to the conclusion of, well, he admitted that he donated to these people, so he needs to be canceled now. And hey, to some people, that's enough. Just supporting some of these individuals is an outright deal breaker. And again, that is totally your right to make that call. But to me, I wanted to know more, right? Because I had a feeling that maybe this is tied to the state of American politics. And this is stepping way outside my comfort zone here on game theory. But personally, I just hate American politics.
Same!
It's always been a frustrating process to me because it forces you into one of two buckets. Are you red or are you blue?
Nope.
Are you elephant or are you donkey?
Neither.
Are you Republican or are you Democrat? It is a binary choice between two parties.
Presidential elections, I never vote for either party. I vote for a different party.
There are no
I
other
refuse.
options.
I vote for the local
other
elections.
Options in the form of independent candidates and third parties.
And I vote on based on
the system is set up the way it is,
what I believe
really stand that much
in
of a
those
chance.
candidates,
And
regardless of party.
Everyone is always telling you that if you vote for them, you're throwing away your votes. So, long story short, most elections just wind up being a compromise. You have to pick and choose whatever your most important issues are for that election cycle, and because no one candidate embodies them all,
do I have a
to
dog?
vote for the lesser of two evils,
a cat?
in a sense. There is never this one perfect candidate that truly represents me as the voter.
Do any politicians represent you?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you feel like you're represented?
Maybe Scott felt like he was in a similar position. So
I don't.
I wanted to look closer at his response. And admittedly, it's a long one, but I think it's important to not overly edit Scott's words in this case. But don't worry, we'll break it down as we go through it. I've debated greatly how best to address this.
Why is there a hard drive
not addressing it at all. But with so many people from the LGBT community in the fan base that I love, that's not an option. I'd like to think that the last 7 years would have given me the benefit of the doubt in regards to how I try to treat people. But there I was.
So did he walk away
for being a homophobe,
to help
getting doxxed,
the
with
people make the
decision? To come to my house. All this because I exercised my right and my duty as an American citizen to vote for and support the candidates who I felt could best run the country for everyone. And that's something that I won't apologize for.
I only donate to charities, by the way. No politician, because I hate
as someone who
American
has
politics.
Received very vivid death threats and have had to go into hiding out of fear of my family's life, just because I do a dumb show online where I call Sonic slow, personal attacks and threats are not okay. Never, period, end of story. Agree or disagree with him.
I apparently have received a couple death threats. My moderators deleted them
pull your support
before
of
I could see them.
His franchise, of his games, absolutely. But
you watch my
harassing
videos,
and
you
threatening
should know
someone's
not to.
life and his family simply because they supported someone you disagree with,
I have a lot of guns.
makes you no better than the people that you're fighting. That's just the way I feel.
That's
and
a very good
when it comes
point.
to giving Scott the benefit of the doubt, like he asks for in this response, Honestly, he has that from me. It's easy to overlook, but Scott over the years has donated over $1.2 million of his own money to charity.
Scott Cawthon himself!
Yeah,
including
over $1 million
to the Trevor Project, an organization that is focused on helping LGBTQ youth. Does that necessarily negate the $42,000 that he made in political donations?
$42,000.
That is a personal choice for you
when he's donated over $1 million.
I think it at least merits hearing the guy out. Anyway, the quote continues. For those of you who took the time to look, you saw that the candidates I supported included men, women, white people, black people, Republicans, and Democrats. I supported Kimberly Classic in Baltimore because I believed that she really cared for the African-American community there and wanted to pull them out of poverty. I believe she could have really made a difference in a time when so many black communities were struggling. She lost, unfortunately. I supported Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat, even though I disagreed with her on several issues, because I felt she would have been a good and fair president. And yes, I supported President Trump because I felt he was the best man to fuel a strong economy and stand up to America's enemies abroad, of which there are many. Even if there were candidates who had better things to say to the LGBT community directly and bigger promises to make, I believe that their stances on other issues would have ended up doing much greater harm to those communities than good. All of this explanation, I fear, is wasted, as people don't want to discuss with one another anymore. They want
he's so right. Also, he used a semicolon.
Expecting those from me will
man, I love it seeing the correct use of a semicolon.
So now this gets to the heart of the problem that people had with Scott, who he chose to support through his donation dollars. And the list is quite long if you look at OpenSecrets.com.
Why $933?
Candidates
Why?
Specifically singled out for donation dollars, with one Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii, like he called out in a statement, who, in his response, he not only chooses to support, but actually calls out as his first choice of candidate for president. I think this actually merits looking into. It's a bit weird. I'm about to
considering he didn't do it like after the fact.
A mini game theory on political donations, which I don't really love, but hey, if we're doing it, let's do it right, so here we go. So, looking at the timeline of his 2019 and 2020
we're actually doing this.
Tulsi is in fact the first to receive any money from Scott, followed by his donation to Trump 2 months later. Now, this timing also happens to coincide with Tulsi starting to lag
small of a window?
What this
I thought this was
tells
4
me
years.
Implicitly is that when his first choice, Tulsi, was no longer a viable presidential candidate, he instead pivoted and donated to the candidate that he most believed in, who also had the best shot of winning, Donald Trump. But what was the policy that Scott appears to have cared about the most?
Does he say?
If you look into all of the candidates
what do they all have in common
to support, there's one and only one commonality across all of them.
Which is?
Tough foreign policy. Keeping the military strong, keeping trade strong, and standing against foreign powers like North Korea. This also coincides with his statements about defending against enemies abroad, recovering the economy, and how other issues would do more harm to the country than good. Apparently to Scott, nothing worse can happen to your civil rights than getting dunked on by an overseas nuke. Now, I've seen people say that everyone on Scott's donation list also had a history of opposing same-sex and transgender rights. I chose to look into this, and across
it's probably something that was buried in a bill.
Except for Tulsi, who, well, she was inconsistent about it at best. It's true, she had a history of being anti-LGBT, but since joining Congress in 2013, she supported efforts to promote LGBT equality, including co-sponsoring pro-LGBT legislation like the Equality Act, which, if you don't know, is a bill to amend the 1964 Civil Rights Act to promote and protect LGBT individuals. And then, again, at the top of 2019, she went on Twitter to defend trans Americans in the military. So, big ups to her on all of that.
She's getting, I guess, clout from this.
Things get more complicated because in 2020, her reputation was again put into question when she introduced a bill that many saw as anti-transgender, something that was leveled hard against
what else was in the bill?
Choice to support her. But it's worth
what else was in the bill? That's what I want to know.
Chose to donate to her campaign.
Because like you see these political campaigns that are just like, oh, they voted to cut veteran benefits. I'm like, what candidate would actually vote against that? What else is in the bill?
Trans rights. That's it. That's the best I can put it. Outside of that, the only commonality that I could see across pretty much every candidate that Scott chose to support was keeping the military strong. Now, to be sure, not everyone places the same emphasis on that issue or considers America at high risk. People on the other side of this issue may believe that the bigger threat is personal rights of people who are already in the country. Again, I am not here to decide that issue or pass judgment on anyone's priorities. God forbid. I do not want to do that.
No.
But it is my theory. My
I'm not either.
Theory that Scott, like so many other Americans, may have found himself caught in a situation where no one candidate truly reflected the complete slate
and
of
no one
policies
wins,
that he supported. And
but
when
the
his
people
first
making the decisions
bowed out of the race, one who was publicly pro-LGBTQ rights at the time, he moved on to the next best option in his mind.
Which, did his money really even have that big of an impact? Like, these guys are getting so much money in donations.
Policy, therefore him supporting Trump. And let me be clear, I'm not trying to explain away his actions or anything like that. Not at all. Am I surprised that he donated to these people? Yeah. But is it enough for me to throw away all the goodwill that I've seen him put into this franchise and his community over the years? No. It's not. Like I said, a donation is a donation, and to many that is more than enough to condemn him. But I just thought it was interesting in my research
Money
and
talks.
deserved to be called out when talking about this really complicated topic. I think the challenge here is that life isn't black and white, red or blue, and that the internet a lot of times struggles with nuance. It struggles with those gray areas. I gotta be honest, I'm sad that this is how everything wound up. Seeing ScottGames.com go dark after years of me
still like that.
Checking it for updates or digging into the source code for hidden clues, it was a sobering moment.
Here's the thing: if he would have walked away on its own, what kind of impact would that have had on the games? You know,
that Scott's done, but
like that would have tainted the game and the hype.
What I would encourage anyone out there who is struggling with this to look at is the net good that this series has provided. Regardless of Scott's political affiliation, his true beliefs, whatever they may be, this series has been a source of security and identity for so many
very
people
valid point
over the last 7 years, and it will continue to be that moving forward for even more. Life just isn't a game of absolutes. Life is all about trying to do the greatest good with the hand that you've been dealt, and the good that
and when it's American politics,
for creators,
those hands are not
fans,
good.
For gaming as a whole, it's incalculable. My last few theories have had this recurring theme of, it's a new era of FNAF, the old story is dead, we're on to the next iteration of this franchise, blah, 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 blah. And I gotta be honest, now that rings true more than ever.
Is it really, though?
I'll be here with you for the ride. But hey, that's not a theory, honestly. That's a fact. I am going to be here with you for the ride. But this is a game theory. Thank you for watching, and thank you for staying open-minded.
Yeah, stay open-minded. That's the best way to live, to be open-minded. Also, this is a year ago, so I guess it's been, what, about 2 years? Close to 2 years since this happened? Kanye Quest. I don't know why I read that as Kanye West. But like I said, if in the comment section, don't be rude, mean, hateful towards anybody. I do read the comments. The comment will be deleted. I can promise you that. You might get shadow banned, and then you won't be able to comment on, or your comment won't be seen by anybody on my channel ever. But yeah, there's like, cancel him because he gave money, $42,000 in total, amongst a bunch of candidates who all were about, you know, foreign policy and stuff like that, and like the economy and stuff like that, which are very important things. And I guess they all have a history of anti-LGBTQ stuff, so, which typically goes hand in hand. Like, you're not gonna find, like, typically, just the way American politics work, it's either white, but not really white and black. It's, you know, it's one color or the other. You know, it's not segregation. That was a terrible way to put that. It's not a race thing. It's there's no gray. What I'm trying to say, it's one or the other, red or blue, pretty much. Like, two very different colors. There's no in between. Like, finding a candidate that is, you know, for strengthening the military and having foreign policy and being all about the economy, and is also for LGBTQ rights and stuff like that. Someone that falls in that line doesn't really exist, because I don't think, you know, the extremes on either side would back that person. And if they don't play the game, then they're not a part of the game, because the people that are in charge of the two sides. But, you know, American politics, in my opinion, is a lot of keep everybody divided, so they're fighting each other and not focused on the people that are in charge actually making decisions. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are just blatant. Like I said, one example of bills. Every time it comes around election time, you hear about oh, this senator voted against veteran benefits. What that would be political suicide if there was a bill and it was that simple. Usually bills are like tens of thousands of pages long, and they just try to sneak a whole bunch of stuff in there, and then somebody goes through and goes, nope, not gonna do that, and they're like, no, we vote against that bill, and they're like, oh, what was in that bill? Something about this that we can use against you in the media, which is just how American politics is. That's how the game works. I hate it. It's the country I live in, though. I don't think I'm leaving the country anytime soon. I just hope that you can have an open mind towards other people that aren't like you, people that are different than you. Have an open mind, hear them out. Don't be ignorant. You can learn a lot from other people. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk. That's a saying that I kind of live by. So, like my elders, I literally listen to them, hear their stories, because they're much older than me and much wiser, and that's why I've gained so much wisdom at an early age in my life. So, just listen, hear each other out. Don't just feel like you have to pick a side. You can have your own opinion, and I feel like you should be able to have your own opinion without being canceled. And anybody's entitled to their opinion until that opinion starts. Your rights end where another's begin. Once you start affecting other people, that is when you've gone too far. You can have an opinion. You can voice your opinion in a polite way, in a constructive way, in a non-hateful way, and it can, get across. You can get the point across without being extreme. Like, you can, have an argument with somebody or a debate with somebody that doesn't turn into threats or name-calling or violence or yelling and screaming or canceling. But it doesn't seem like people want to do that. They just want to, pull out their phone and start recording people and then post it on TikTok or Facebook or whatever to certain groups and hope that, people see it and media picks it up and they get clout or donations or a GoFundMe set up for whatever they went through. It's the world we live in. A lot of problems in the world. I can't fix them. I don't think any of us can fix them. Who knows what the future holds. Just be kind to one another. I'm going to be reading all the comments, so definitely be kind to one another. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. I felt like this was a video that I had to watch, and I figured I could, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling at this point. The video is making longer, so probably less people are going to click on it now because it's a longer video. But I just wanted to kind of voice my opinion on how I see things and how I see the world. And I'm just here to trying to be happy. The most important thing in life is to be happy. That's literally all that matters, is to be happy. And hopefully I can make you happy with these videos. That's why I work so hard. And yeah, my life is pretty much just making videos to make as many people smile and make as many people's days better. So I donate to charities and stuff like that using the ad revenue. So people that maybe can't donate to charity and maybe can't support on Patreon, maybe they can watch the video, and that the money from them watching the video goes to a charity to support something that they couldn't themselves support. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting comment section. I have an amazing community. Hopefully I don't get canceled for this. I don't think I will. I feel like I'm out of all the people in the world that get canceled, I highly doubt I'm going to be one of those people, just based on how I am. And I'm just, I'm trying to make people smile and stuff. I'm never too serious. I never take myself serious. This rambling's gone on for long enough. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. I'll be streaming today from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've realized I'm actually really quiet now during the outro of the video. Usually I'm louder at these parts. But this is an interesting video that I had to see because this really changed the path of FNAF probably forever. I hope to see you back for the next video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. But until the next video, take care and kitty music.
We were playing